Mhm. Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Keith Ellis, and I'm so happy that he said yes to our interview today. And how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Caroline. How are you doing?
I'm fine when I talk to you, and I'm so inspired to get even more inspired, by your answers to my questions I prepared. And let me introduce you to the audience real quick. You are the #1 superpower coach and best-selling author. You are known for transforming goal setting in your classic book, The Magic Lamp. You later helped lead web methods to one of the largest software IPOs in history, and your latest book, 10x Superpower, reveals how to make the impossible easy. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Keith Ellis.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
Me too. So let me have a look at our first question. What inspired you to redefine goal setting in the Magic Lamp, and how did it change your approach to personal and professional growth?
Well, it's this will sound a little strange, I suppose. I was taking a shower and I was thinking about all the things I wanted to do and how important it was to set goals, but I really didn't like setting goals. I thought they were rigid. I didn't think they were much fun. I wanted to be more exciting and spontaneous. I said, you know what I really want is I want to set goals the same way you would, rub a magic lamp and make a wish come true. That's what I want. And then I started thinking about it. I got so excited. I jumped out of the shower dripping wet and started writing notes because I realized that goal setting is exactly the same thing as making your wishes come true, except that you're the genie. And if you wrap your mind around that and realize I have the power to give myself anything I want, I just have to know how to do it. That's a pretty exciting thing. So I created what's called the LAMP model. It's a simple 4-step framework for setting goals. And I wrote a book about it. The book was successful. And then had a bunch of other adventures in my life. And eventually I got to the point where I realized, well, wait a minute, that what I wrote then is great. It works great. I've been using it for years, but something is missing. And I finally figured out that what was missing was something called magic questions, which is a way of asking questions that really it's at the heart of just about everything. We talked about Napoleon Hill a little while ago. It's the heart of Socrates, Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale, Tony Robbins, everybody. They don't call them magic questions, but it's the heart of what they teach. So I wrote a book about that. That was successful. And then I said, wait a minute, there's still something missing. And then I realized what's missing is putting all this together in a framework that I call the 10x superpower. And there's a new book coming out in October, as I mentioned to you, and it's called 10x Superpower, but the subtitle is what really gets you: how to make the impossible easy, because it really teaches people how to set impossible goals. So I've come from rubbing the magic lamp and making your wishes come true to how do you achieve impossible goals. So that's what I do now. I help people do that.
Wow, I totally understand. And you explain it so simple that I can understand it. And when you said, "Oh, you might be surprised it happened below the shower," then I can tell you it's always with me. It's always like that. So I get my greatest ideas when I'm in the shower, and I have the same phenomena or phenomenon. I don't know the word, so that I have to jump out and write it down because otherwise it's gone. And then you said with your first book, you discovered, or this is what you wrote down, you discovered that the genius is in you. You are the genius that makes it happen. Yes, because
That's
we
exactly
cannot
right.
sit there and wishing or dreaming for a thing. We know this from Napoleon Hill. Wishing or dreaming is not giving you success. It's you have to be ready to receive it, of course, as well. And how do you receive it? By taking inspired action. And this is the process you described. How was it? A four-step? No, four-step, I don't know, process. My
Yeah.
question would be, what is the lamp? And I think you have an answer. If
Well,
you're
so
genius in the lamp, what is the lamp?
the land that the so that when this happened to me before I took the shower, I think I just seen the movie Aladdin, about the genie and rubbing the magic lamp, and the genie comes out of the lamp and grants wishes and all that stuff. And that's what got me thinking about it. And then I realized, well, wait a minute, we are our own genie. If we learn how to do this right, we can grant our own wishes. So the lamp, I call it the magic of the lamp. And lamp is an acronym, LAMP, and it stands for, the first step is lock on. Lock on is like a guided missile locks onto a target and sticks with it. And it's really two pieces. It's visualize. You have to have it very clear in your mind what you want, and then you lock onto it. You commit to it. That's just a kind of a fancy way of saying commit to it, and you keep working on it, and you just are absolutely committed to it. Commitment is what makes the difference. So L is lock on. A, action. Take action. Take the action that we were talking about, and it's not just take action and overcome obstacles. It's embrace the obstacles. It's embrace the resistance, because resistance is what allows you to accomplish anything. Resistance is the raw material for success. And then the M stage stands for manage your attention, because the most valuable resource any of us have today is our attention. We live in a world where we are connected to billions of other human beings, instantly connected. And sometimes it feels like all of them are trying to get our attention at the same time. So what this is all about is, if we learn to manage our attention, if we learn to use that as our greatest resource and spend our attention wisely, then we can accomplish anything we want. And the final piece of it, so it's LAMP, the P stands for persist. And it's really simple. Keep going until you get what you want. And you put these four things together, and you've got something that will literally let you make your own wishes come true.
I totally understand now. It's an acronym, and I love how you broke it down. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, 13 Principles of Success, into 4 words. Because persistence is my favorite chapter. So persistence, it's easy to remember, and also
Yes.
manage your attention. I was thinking about the difference between, it has to do with focus as well, when you stay focused, and also lock on. You said lock on, right? Yeah.
Yep. Lock on, act, manage your attention, and persist.
And fortunately, we recorded this podcast episode so we can listen to it over and over again until it
Good.
sinks into our subconscious mind and we act on it without thinking. It's a habit. Then you make it a habit. Okay, this is the process. Let's take a look at our next question. Can
Okay.
you share a pivotal moment from your time at Web Methods that shaped your understanding of success and led to your concept of superpowers?
Yeah, actually, one of the key pieces of this, magic questions, came out of this process. I was the 6th person hired into this company. It was a little tiny startup company. And I was the head of sales, or the vice president of sales, and I was supposed to sell a product that no one had ever heard of, that wasn't even finished, to a market that didn't exist. And I struggled. So I was doing this for a few months, and we were getting low on money, and I was thinking, I asked myself a question. I said, how do I increase our revenue? Now, that seems like a really simple question, and you'd think I'd have been thinking about that all along, and I was, but I'd never asked myself that question in so many words. How do I increase our revenue? And so when I asked myself that, all these ideas started coming into my mind. And then the first one that really made sense said, I need to make us famous. And that wasn't what I was thinking about. That's not really a salesperson's job, right? But I knew that that's what was the thing we needed next in this world where nobody had ever heard of us, didn't know what we were doing, and we were doing something brand new. So then I said, that led to another question. How can I make us famous? Bingo. Suddenly, I started coming up with all these ideas, and then one of them popped up, and it was, I need to find somebody who's already famous and get him to endorse us. And it was like, wow, this is magic. I mean, this actually happened like this, and it's blowing my mind. I didn't know what was going on, but it was really amazing. So I said, okay, this question thing is working. Let's try another question. Who can make us famous? And then I suddenly realized, uh, I asked I asked myself this question, and all kinds of ideas popped into my mind. Nothing really took hold until probably a day later. I was reading a trade magazine, and there was a trade show that was going to happen in New York City, and I'm in Washington D.C. or near there. And the guy that invented the internet, the guy that invented the web, Tim Berners-Lee, was going to show up at this trade show. And I said, that's the guy we need to get in front of. He's the closest thing to a rock star in this industry. And he's going to be a couple hours away by train. So jumped in a train, went up there, figured I would listen to his keynote talk and try to convince him to work with us. Didn't have any idea how I would do that. So I started asking myself questions about that. How am I going to get Tim Berners-Lee interested in us? And finally, the idea popped in my head. What if I offered him a piece of our company? What if I offered him some stock? I wasn't authorized to do that. That wasn't my role in the company. But I was literally in the program with this gentleman, listening to him talk at the time that question occurred to me. There's nobody I could call for permission. And, you know, the saying is sometimes it's easier to get forgiveness than it is to get permission. And I figured as long as I was honest with Tim about this, that I had no authority to offer this, then maybe I could talk my fellow stockholders into doing this, the board members into doing this. So I went and talked to him. He thought it was a wonderful idea. He thought what we were doing was a wonderful idea. He came back to our booth, saw a demonstration of what we were doing. And then 3 years later, the company went public in one of the largest software IPOs in history. And what I got out of that was this idea that questions change everything. They're so powerful that they're like magic. So I started calling them magic questions, and that's now actually a trademark I own. It's a registered trademark in the United States for of magic questions, and it's because and there's a whole process around that too, about how to ask a question the right way at the right time, and the right question. And if you do those things, then your brain starts doing amazing things. And the best analog I can suggest is there's a lot of press, a lot of attention being given to artificial intelligence today. And at the heart of artificial intelligence, if you spend any time with it, you realize I need to create prompts. I need to engineer prompts to the artificial intelligence so that it gives me what I'm looking for. Because even though it's called artificial intelligence, it's really quite stupid. It just needs to know what you want, and then it'll do all of its amazing stuff and give it to you. So it's called prompt engineering, and there's a whole industry that's being created called prompt engineering for artificial intelligence. And I started thinking about that, and I said, that's what I'm doing with Magic Questions. This is prompt engineering for human intelligence. It's about how to ask yourself a question in a way that gives you a meaningful and powerful result that you wouldn't otherwise get. And that all came out of that brief little episode in Web Methods.
I understand what you mean because, yeah, you talk about a time where there was no AI yet, right? And so you engineered the process that is used now to create prompts. And I would implement or introduce, no, not introduce, but use the word quality. So the quality of your questions determine the quality of the answers you receive, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. I also love that you trademarked the word magic questions. I think you are frozen now. No, you are not frozen. We have to ask the right question here. Where are you now? He's back. He's back now.
I'm still here. Did I freeze?
Yes, but
Oh,
I
okay,
tried your method to ask the right question. Where is he? And then you
good.
okay. I have another question. Yeah, it's about questions, and thank you for reminding me because when I create my podcast and I think about what questions can I ask, then and I changed the model also of asking questions, so the quality increased in my process as well. So I have another question. Let me see. What motivated you to create the first $10,000 book, and what is the core message you hope readers will take away from 10x Superpower?
So you just mentioned this, so I'll sort of flesh that out for a second. This book I'm bringing out in October, it's going to be in about 3 weeks, is called 10x Superpower: How to Make the Impossible Easy. And I'm going to charge $10,000 for that book, for one book. And as far as I know, it's the first book in history that's ever ever cost $10,000. And the reason I'm doing that, there are two reasons I'm doing it. One of them is it's a test. If the first thing somebody hears is, well, you got to be crazy to buy a $10,000 book, even if it'll make the impossible easy, then the book isn't going to do them any good at any price, right? It's not going to help them. Save their time, save my time. Don't worry about it. Then the second reason is because I'm in the coaching business. I'm what I call a superpower coach. I help people use this 10x superpower that's described in the book. And the key to it is commitment. The key to it is because I can help somebody. I literally mean this. I can help somebody achieve impossible goals, but I'm not doing the heavy lifting. They're doing the heavy lifting. I can just coach them how to do it. So what I'm doing is saying up front, um, I'm actually offering a coaching program with the book. There's a whole coaching program that goes with it, and the coaching program is free if you buy the book for $10,000. And I do that because most people in my business, in the coaching business, will give you something free, like a book or a pamphlet or something, and then hope they can talk you into an expensive coaching program on the back end. Nothing wrong with that. Perfectly valid business model. But I'm turning that on its head, and I'm saying, wait a minute, I'm putting this right out front. This is $10,000. If you're interested in making the impossible easy, I can help you, but it's going to cost you $10,000. And oh, by the way, you don't get just a book; you get a whole coaching program that will bring that book to life for you. Because reading a book is great, but we've all read lots of books and said, "Oh man, that's incredible," and then gone on to the next book, forgotten what we just read. Right? This is about putting to work in your life these principles that create the 10x superpower. So that's what the $10,000 price tag is for the book, and that's what the book's about: helping people create and achieve impossible goals. And I'm focused on entrepreneurs because entrepreneurs tend to be independent minded. They tend to have a very straightforward results focus. And that's what I'm saying. Here you go. If you want to 10x your results, if you want 10 times, whatever, fill in the blanks, 10 times more revenue, 10 times more customers, 10 times better relationships, 10 times more happiness, I can help you do that. You do the heavy lifting. You have to commit to it, but I can help you do it.
Wow, I understand now. And it's so amazing about this book, buy this book. And the clients can choose whether they read the book and they refuse the coaching.
Yeah.
So, because it's
Yeah.
about commitment, like you said, and also accountability as well. And as you mentioned, the genie is you. So you are doing the impossible as well. And when you and I love the not subtitle, but this headline about how to make the impossible easy, because that implies already that the impossible is possible. So there's no
Yes.
question it is possible. The question is it hard or easy for you? And you have the solution.
That's
Mhm.
right. And we all have examples of this in our life, and we don't realize it. I mean, think of a toddler who is crawling around the room trying to learn how to walk. How many times will they try to walk before they give up. They don't give up. They just keep going until they start walking. And when you think about it, yeah, for the crawler, the child that's crawling around the room, 1 year old or 8 months old, whatever they are, it's impossible for them to walk. They can't do it physically, emotionally. They can't walk, and then suddenly they're walking. They've accomplished the impossible, and you say, okay, well, that's a special case. That's a toddler crawling around. That doesn't count. Well, what about learning to talk? What about learning to write? What about learning to read? Okay, but that happens when you're young. Nothing like that happens when you're older. Okay, how about when you learn how to drive a car? I don't know about you, but I remember driving around with my mom and watching her whiz through neighborhoods and not hit people on skateboards or not run into trees, and I was just amazed at that. How this is impossible. And then when I finally got my license and I could drive, it was like I'd achieved the impossible. So we have all kinds of examples of this. And my favorite one for entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are thinking, well, impossible, I can't really do the impossible. Say, okay, was there ever a time in your life when you were making 10 times less than you are now? And they go, yeah, I was selling popcorn at a movie theater when I was in high school or something like that, right? And then they think, wait a minute, I've done this. I've already increased my income by 10 times. I've done the impossible. And once you begin to get your brain, it's exactly what you said, Caroline, that it implies that it's possible. We call it impossible, but what we mean is it's impossible for me the way I am now. But if I add capabilities, if I become a more capable person by learning new skills, by creating new relationships, new collaborations, suddenly anything's possible. And that's really what I'm teaching in this program.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, my brain is working now.
Good.
I learned so much. Really, I learned so much. It's like collecting the missing pieces. And because there's no question if it's possible at all, because it is possible. Yeah, as I said, the question, do you make it hard or do you want it easy? And then, yeah, of course, I recommend to reach out to you. Please reach out to Keith. He's amazing. He has information not many people have, and he's willing to share, of course. Thank you so much for our interview. Now it's time for your last thoughts to the audience, and please mention where we can find you.
Thank you. So you can find me at 10xsuperpower.com. So it's 10xsuperpower.com. And the thought I would leave people with is that when you set a goal, most of us are taught to set a goal that we think is possible, right? I want to increase my sales by 20%. I can do that. So we go for incremental progress, which is great. My first book was about that. It works great. But here's the thing about the human mind. If you set a goal to do something impossible, you suddenly change how you're viewing the world. Now you say, I'm committed to doing something I can't do. I'm committed to doing the impossible, to winning a gold medal or to, increasing my revenue by a factor of 10 or whatever it is. I'm committed to that. Now your brain starts saying, oh, okay, well, if you're committed to that, here are some ways to do it. Now remember we talked about attention and focus. Well, now you've changed your focus dramatically because you're committed to the impossible. And then you start thinking differently, and then you start acquiring new capabilities, and it's like climbing a mountain. At the bottom of the mountain, it looks really tall. You get halfway up and it's like, wow, this is amazing. And suddenly you start thinking, what I thought was impossible, I really believed it was impossible, I think I can do this. And then you do it. And then after you do it, it's like, this is easy. Just like walking or riding a bike or driving a car or, that 10 times increase you made in your income from when you were, a kid. That's what this is all about. So set impossible goals, not just incremental goals, set impossible goals and focus and commit to them. That would be the advice I would give.
Thank you so much. It is possible. I am the evidence. You are episode 357. And 1 year ago or two, I was not speaking at all. So thank you. Thank you so much. I am the evidence. It
You're
works.
welcome. You are you're like a success story for me, although you never heard of me when you were doing it. You just did it on your own. Good for you. I think that's spectacular. I love that story.
Thank you for your insights, and I see you in the next episode.
Wonderful.